So, this video is going to be different from my usual content. I'm not doing a live comp today, but instead talking about an issue that I think is the biggest problem with MW2. Now, MW2 gets a lot of hate, and it doesn't surprise me. The game isn't exactly a home run, but it also isn't as bad as some people make it out to be. Now, I'm not going to get into the pros and cons of Modern Warfare 2 in this video, but maybe I'll upload a separate video about that. I'll think about it. In this video, I just want to address the many issues with this game, and most importantly, the issue that I haven't heard anyone talk about, but I feel is actually the top killer of this game. If you're new to my channel and you haven't watched my previous videos, I just want to start this by saying I pretty much exclusively play multiplayer, more specifically Search and Destroy, and I don't touch Warzone or DMZ very often at all. So what I say is mainly for multiplayer fan base, but I do think it probably applies to Warzone and DMZ a bit. But I want to start with some of the smaller issues in this game that generally make the playing experience worse. Off the bat, I think the first thing that comes to mind, and I think everyone knows about and frequently brings this up, is the lack of movement. The game is definitely too slow paced in my opinion and lacks any sort of advanced movement mechanic. I feel that the addition of dolphin diving was a great idea to have along with sliding and creates a new movement change that I think pushes the game in the right direction. That's about where the positives end for movement in Modern Warfare 2. I know that the removal of slide cancelling split the community down the middle, with some people saying it needed to be removed and some saying it takes out the skill gap. Personally, I like slide cancelling, and I feel like they could have incorporated it into Modern Warfare 2 without making it overpowered, but instead the devs opted to remove it altogether. But not only did they remove slide cancelling, which was a primary movement mechanic in both Modern Warfare 2019 and Vanguard, but they also created penalties to ADS and shooting after jumping and sliding, which further hinders the player's movement abilities. And you would think with all these movement changes, the devs would add a perk like Ninja to reduce footstep noise or a lightweight perk to increase sprint speed, but nope. Instead, they actually nerfed Dead Silence by not only giving it an activation animation, which delays the start of using it and leaves you vulnerable for a few seconds, but they also added this very loud noise that makes it blatantly obvious when someone just popped their Dead Silence. Now that we've established that this game doesn't want you to move, let's get to the next issue that I have with this game, which is the perks. The perks themselves in this game I find to be not great. I think we could have actually had more perk options on top of what we have, but also this game introduced a new perk system where we don't even have all our perks at the start of the game. Now I understand that we now have 4 perks instead of 3, but back in the day with pick 10, we could have had up to 6 and use all of them at once at the beginning of the game with no issue. But now half the time I get my 4th perk near the end of the game and I don't even get to use it majority of the game, which is absolutely ridiculous. Other team has UAV, don't worry, just put on Ghost. Oh wait, no, I won't be getting Ghost for another 2 to 3 rounds, so forget that. I hope this perk system was a one-time thing and we just never see it again because it's terrible. The next issue I have is with the Gunsmith. This one makes zero sense to me because the idea everyone has is that Activision was trying to cater towards casual players with MW2, and that's why they removed a lot of mechanics, especially movement mechanics. But what I don't get is why add so many attachments to this game and why create this new weapon level system where we need to unlock attachments on different guns to use on all our guns. The number of attachments makes things more complicated for casual players, and while the new weapon leveling system is actually more beneficial for serious players because it makes our weapon grind quicker, it actually makes things way harder for casual players and further makes them not want to spend their time on this game and instead go play something else. I personally know many people who stop playing this game for that reason alone. Now I don't mind the addition of tuning and I feel like it fits this game pretty well, but at the same time, if I never see tuning again, I wouldn't really cry about it. Finally, we get to the biggest problem with this game. The problem I haven't seen anyone address before and kills the game's fun factor in my opinion. And that is a mixture of things that ultimately stems from one thing: gunplay and visual recoil. Now for a game that is trying to emphasize holding angles and slower play, I absolutely do not understand how they messed up gunplay so badly. Specifically visual recoil. If you go back to any old COD game, visual recoil was very minimal to non-existent. And that doesn't mean guns didn't have recoil, because they did, but the purely visual aspect of recoil was not taking over your screen and acting as a complete distraction when in gunfights, which is a major problem with basically every gun in Modern Warfare 2. In this clip, I have an MP7 from Modern Warfare 2019 with max recoil, and an MP7 from Modern Warfare 2 with max recoil reduction. Explain to me why the MP7 from 2019 with max recoil looks the same as the MP7 from Modern Warfare 2 with max recoil reduction. And in this clip, the MP7 from MW2 actually doesn't look terrible, but then again, this is max recoil reduction, so it should look good. But there's no reason it should look comparable to a gun with max ADS speed attachments and just built to be extremely hard to handle in Modern Warfare 2019. Now, similarly, look at these two clips I have of the Modern Warfare 2019 MP7 built with minimal recoil, so no recoil, versus the MW2 MP7 built with max recoil. It's not even virtually close. I'm not saying we should be building our guns for max recoil like this, because obviously that's ridiculous, but the amount of visual recoil is still insane, because you can see when I control it, I can keep it down and I can keep it pretty steady. The horizontal recoil in this game is a little bit more, which I'm fine with that too, but the visual recoil is still insane. Now, I have bias towards MW 2019 because I really enjoy that game, but even if you hate the fast pacing and sweaty nature of MW 2019, the gunplay was awesome. Now come to MW2 and the visual recoil is terrible, and the reason this issue screwed up this game so bad is because, number one, it makes the game less enjoyable to play when I can't even shoot properly because my gun is bouncing all over the place and I can't even see what I'm shooting at properly. And this issue also created so many other issues. For example, I know everyone that plays Search and Destroy in MW2 has probably seen the TAC 56 or Vaznev in just about every lobby. Maybe the whole enemy team is using them, maybe your whole team is using them, maybe you're using them. And at face value, it's pretty simple. These two guns have better stats than the rest, so why use anything else, right? And while yes, that's right, it's just not as simple as that. In every COD, there's a meta gun or multiple meta guns, and people use those guns frequently. But in this game, not only do these two guns outclass every other gun in stats, but they also have way less visual recoil than almost every other gun in the game. And personally, I'd rather use a gun with less visual recoil over a gun with more visual recoil. Now, it's not to say these two guns have zero visual recoil, because that's not the case, but compared to the other guns in MW2, it's not even a competition. So now, we have terrible visual recoil that ruins gunplay in the game, and then two guns that are not only outstandingly better in stats than every other gun in the game, but also have the least visual recoil, which makes it pretty clear why 80% of the people I go up against are using these guns, because they're just more fun to use. They're better. They don't shake your screen like crazy. You can actually see what you're shooting at. Why wouldn't people use them? After taking the time to actually look into and make this video, I actually don't hate on TAC 56 and Vaznev players as much, because going back to play Modern Warfare 2019, every gun felt great. Every gun had no visual recoil, much easier to see when you're shooting in gunfights, much easier to control. Then you come to this game, every gun bounces like crazy, and even if I have a full recoil control build on, I can barely see what I'm shooting at. But the blame is to be put on the MW2 dev team, because not only do we go almost all of MW2's lifespan without having these two guns nerfed or balanced, or even having the meta change, but we also didn't see any buffs to other guns to help bring balance to the game. At this point, I'm honestly holding high hopes for MW3, and if the devs actually put in the work to update the game frequently and make necessary changes, then I think we'll have a great game. Before even getting to that, we need the core gameplay to be near perfect before thinking about slide canceling, or movement, or metas, or any of that. And how do we make sure a first-person shooter game has good core gameplay? We need to focus on gunplay. So Activision, let's stop trying to make COD realistic, because it isn't, and it never has been. Bring back the simplicity, take out the visual recoil, and make proper updates. If I wanted a more realistic tactical shooter game, I would go play a more realistic tactical shooter game. Siege, Tarkov, any of the other games that are built around being tactical shooters. COD has never been a game that's been built around being a tactical, realistic shooter, and it shouldn't be. That's not what it is. That's not what we grew up playing. That's not how they built their fan base originally. So bring back the more arcadey, unrealistic style, and just let your players have fun on the game. With all that being said, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Next video is going to be back to the standard search and destroy videos I upload. I'm going to go and play some MW2. Honestly, creating this video made me feel bad for MW2 as a game and the potential that this game actually had to be really good, and how the Activision developers just messed it up royally. But I'm going to do my best to just have some fun on this game. Please leave me some comments on classes you might want me to try, things you might want me to do. I'm open to hearing your suggestions. Remember, this is for your entertainment as much as it is mine. And also, leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts on MW2, what you think about what I had to say, and let me know what you guys want to see in MW3, because I'm curious to hear what you guys think.